Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Today's obviously been rather bonkers in the world of crypto, obviously with what's happened with Binance, and assuming you're not living under a rock at this point, you have to have heard that Binance is paying a $4.3 billion fine. CZ might end up going to prison for upwards of 18 months as he did plead guilty to at least one felony. I've covered that thoroughly in recent videos, so not to get into that further, but that's actually not that's not all that's worth talking about, not even on the cryptocurrency exchange front. There was already news yesterday having to do with Kraken. I've got some more for you on that. In fact, Ripple's chief legal officer, Stuart Alderati, was talked about that and gave his take on what happened with Binance, but ended up calling the SEC a petulant child, which I thought was both hilarious and spot on. And then we also have Bittrex shutting down. Now, Bittrex in the United States, they'd already left. That news broke earlier this year, which was a shame because they'd been around forever, and Bittrex was one of Ripple's on-demand liquidity partners. They were among the first, actually, to hop on board with that, and now they're just going to no longer exist, so they left the United States, and now they're just shutting down everything. They will cease to exist, so I'll give you the specifics on that, but what a news-heavy day, man. Before going further, though, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, and so this afternoon we got some perspective from Stuart Alderati, Ripple's top in-house lawyer, and he wrote the following. The Binance resolution of anti-money laundering, etc. violations is a necessary step to bring the crypto industry into compliance with these important laws and safeguards. Big banks all went through some version of this years ago. Importantly, nowhere does the DOJ suggest that Binance committed securities law violations or even suggest that the assets traded on its platform are securities. The Treasury and CFTC joined the DOJ in the Binance deal. The SEC did not and was glaringly absent from the stage today. Folks, think about that for a second. If they were on the same page, they would be standing there together. You would have the DOJ, you'd have the CFTC, and you'd have the SEC, but the SEC wasn't present. Let's go forward here. There's more on this. Check this out. Stuart Alderati continues, this sends a clear message that the agency, under Gensler, has not only become an outlier globally, but an outlier within its own government. The SEC, like a petulant child who can't stand being ignored, tweeted its misguided suit against Kraken at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today, the exact time the DOJ press conference regarding Binance was scheduled to begin. Truly secondhand embarrassment at this juvenile behavior. And folks, I'll just show you this right now. This is true. So here you can see that this is the post he's talking about right here. Obviously timed from the SEC to be announced at the same time the Binance news was going down. And here you can see it says 1:59 p.m. Because that's my time zone. I'm Central Time. But here it is from the U.S. SEC official site, account rather, on social media platform X. We charged Payward Inc. and Payward Ventures Inc., together known as Kraken, with operating Kraken's crypto trading platform as an unregistered securities exchange, broker, dealer, and clearing agency. So look, when Stuart Alderati says the SEC's behaving like a petulant child, you're damn right. This is an awful, disgusting, despicable organization. Full stop. And then Stuart Alderati writes, remember, the SEC's fabricated term crypto asset securities is nowhere to be found in the DOJ case against Binance because it has no meaning under the law. The courts have been very clear that tokens themselves are not securities. And so, folks, I think the suspicion here might just be that the CFTC and the DOJ do not agree with the SEC's approach to crypto. Is it okay if I hazard that guess? That's not too far in the left field, right? Wacky stuff, right? And then you had this, and this is funny because this is around the same time that the SEC made their announcement and the Binance news, all that was going down. Here you can see 1:57 p.m. Central Time. That's my time zone. Kraken's official account here on X wrote, "Just in, business as usual." So there you go. So from their perspective, yes, there's the new lawsuit, but it hasn't changed anything in terms of their operations. That's what they're pointing out here. And it's just ridiculous because, as I pointed out yesterday, literally, this was settled. There was a separate lawsuit, separate charges, paid $30 million earlier this year. And now here we are, the end of 2023, new charges from the SEC. And so check this out. There's this headline from the Crypto Basic. Congressman pushes to fire SEC Chair Gensler amid critique by pro-XRP attorney. Now, where's this stem from? I'm not going to read the article. I'm just going to go straight to the source and tell you what they were talking about because it's absolutely newsworthy and very interesting because it leads from this post from co-founder of Kraken, Jesse Powell. There's this, and then there's comment from attorney John Deaton on this, and then there's a comment from what John Deaton said from Warren Davidson, who is a sitting congressman who's trying to get Gary Gensler fired. So Warren Davidson reposted what attorney Deaton said, which I'll show you in just a second here, but it all started with what's on your screen right here from Kraken co-founder and former CEO Jesse Powell. USA's top D-cell is back with another assault on America. The masochists haven't been happy with the beatings they've been taking in New York and are shopping for a different flavor of ragdom in California. I thought we settled all their concerns for $30 million in February. Now they're back for seconds. And folks, to be clear, what he's referencing there is that there's obviously all sorts of lawsuits filed in the world of crypto in New York, but specifically this case, filed in California. And the reason that this is happening, and because you can look at all sorts of different circuits that the SEC is filing various litigation in, and not just against Kraken, they're spreading out the risk because they don't know for sure what types of judges they're going to be getting in various circuits. So they're just spreading out the risk. And if it's not going so well in New York, hey, who knows? Let's file this bitch in California. Maybe we'll get some better responses there, huh? In favor of what we asset pricks at the SEC want. That's basically it. And so then he says, and this is again Jesse Powell, co-founder of Kraken, message is clear. $30 million buys you about 10 months before the SEC comes around to extort you again. Lawyers can do a lot with $30 million, but the SEC knows that a real fight will likely cost $100 million plus and valuable time. If you can't afford it, get your crypto company out of the United States war zone. Spot on. Now, that was reposted by attorney John Deaton, and he wrote the following, not mincing words here. Gary Gensler is a despicable and dishonorable regulator. He knew that Kraken believed it was buying peace for the $30 million. I know some people are critical of its choice to settle and pay the $30 million. I wanted them to fight as well. But when you decide to fight, $30 million takes you only so far. Like maybe only 1/3 of the way, if you're lucky. Ask Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse, who spent $150 million plus so far and is still paying millions in legal fees. I wasn't in the room with the Kraken leadership when the decision was made to settle, but I guarantee you, things like the permanent layoffs of good, loyal employees were discussed. When the belief is $30 million buys you peace and keeps good people employed, I understand why a company makes it. Unfortunately, Gensler doesn't give a S-word about those same employees or investors. He's a disgrace, and I can't wait to see him go down. Now that is spot on. Gary Gensler is a freaking monster. Freaking Mr. Burns lookalike. All up in his bitch. Now, Warren Davidson, sitting congressman, reposted that from John Deaton and wrote the following. Now would be a great time to pass my SEC Stabilization Act and fire Gary Gensler. And I'd covered this in the past. Warren Davidson, not exactly a fan of the Mr. Burns lookalike, ready to get him the hell out of here. Look, I think the good news is, what is most probable by a lot, is that eventually Congress gets, it sounds like a bad sentence because I was going to say Congress gets its act together. I don't literally mean that. I don't literally mean that. Eventually, at a snail's pace, something will happen within Congress that results in there being actual clarity in the world of crypto in the United States. That's what I actually mean. Gets its act together. Ain't going to happen. It's Congress. You kidding me? This is the federal government we're talking about. But anyway, that was almost the biggest blunder of my YouTube career, right? But no, he really does want to get rid of Gensler, and I think that I think it's very clear what's most probable is you are going to have that type of clarity. It just takes time. But people look back on this time period, and it will not, like, history will not smile upon Gary Gensler. That is for damn sure. This is going to be studied for decades to come. And then we have this. Bittrex Global unveils plan to wind down operations shortly after SEC battle. And so again, former Ripple partner going kaput. Very sad to see. Bittrex Global has run its course and has unveiled its plans to wind down all operations by December 4th. As Bittrex detailed, it will halt all trading activities at the set date, but its platform will remain accessible to users who plan to withdraw their funds. The woes of the exchange range from the harsh impacts of the crypto winter to the unfavorable regulatory landscape in the United States. Bittrex allayed all its users' fears, noting that their assets remain safe. While users can withdraw their funds freely from now until December 4th, the exchange said withdrawals beyond this date will follow the winding down process. One important note to users is that they cannot withdraw USD holdings directly from the platform. The exchange advised its customers with any USD holdings to first convert them to another crypto or EUR before making withdrawals. The exchange said users have to make the USD conversion before the December 4th deadline. As a part of the winding down of operations, Bittrex said all forms of referral programs and promotions have stopped and that users should not attempt to deposit money into their accounts as it has no guarantee it can safely receive the funds. Bittrex has a rich history of supporting unhindered funds movement, including those heavily linked to whale activities. This winding down remained one of the key aftermaths of the SEC's enforcement actions, according to members of the crypto community. And so it is sad to see them go. Now, I'm not going to pretend like it's like I know. I mean, it could be, but I'm not going to pretend like for sure it's the SEC solely that caused this. There's also intense competition. I mean, it's an industry with real players. Yes, real competition. But the SEC in getting attacked like that obviously didn't help. The government situation obviously did not help. To the point where, even before they reached this regrettable point where they're literally not going to exist, they jumped earlier this year out of the United States. That was the best decision they could have made, they believed. And they're probably right, frankly. Just it's just crazy. Man, life comes at you fast, you know what I mean, bro? Jesus. So that's the latest. So again, it's not just what's happening in the markets, which I covered in a video. It's not just what is has happened with Binance, which I covered in a separate video. There's a lot of stuff in general happening today. There's never enough time in the day, especially on days like this, to cover everything that's going on. But I just tried to give you a little taste here that's a little diverse because, man, living in the world of crypto is absolutely insane. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.